We are talking about the Power Surge update and when that's going to happen for Rust Console Edition. Let's get into it. I'm Jade Monkey. Again, we're talking about that Rust Console Edition for the PlayStation 4, the Xbox One, next generations, and everything in between. So, Power Surge update, also known as electricity, has been cooking on PTB testing or staging branch, which is a separate download for almost 2 months now. It started in November. We've had it all the way through December and halfway through January now. So still no official word of when this is going to come out, but things have been quite stable and quite fun. So here's my speculative idea as to when this is going to occur. So obviously we're halfway through January, depending on when you're watching this, and at the end of the month is typically when we have those hard wipes, or typically when they can slot in updates, but it's not necessarily restricted to that. And it depends on the type of update. I believe that this update, the Power Surge update, is going to bring in a hard wipe. I don't know that for sure, but I get that feeling. So if that's the case, it's most likely going to happen at the end of the month. Now, again, since I'm speculating, it could still very well happen at the end of January, but I don't think so, because I think we're due for maybe one more patch for that to sit on PTB and then get transitioned over. So what I'm saying is it can happen at any time, but I think it's going to be in February. I hope it's earlier, not the end of February, but if we were to match this up to last year's oil rig, it was roughly around February when they did release it, although they didn't do a hard wipe necessarily, which was interesting, and maybe they do the same thing here. So I'm setting my expectation for February, but they could definitely spring it on us at any time. It would be really great if they dropped it at the end of January. I would be a big fan of that, but it's definitely gonna. It already has changed the game, like across the board. Like you wouldn't think so, but like okay. So let's go through it. So already, if you're over on testing or staging branch, there are custom cameras. Like yes, the ones you can set up in your base right here, right? You can set these up to your own like setup, and then sit down at the computer station and actually see through them. You can also peep on monuments actively, so you can see when like different boxes are there, oil rig, and that kind of stuff. It's amazing, and I'm surprised they brought it in, and it runs surprisingly well, even for the core systems. So if you're interested in checking out the cams, not only on how to set it up, but even the codes that you would use to peep on the monuments, I will go ahead and link that video now. If you want to go check that bad boy out. But yeah, I mean, for many reasons, it's going to change the game. And let's talk about performance real quick. And I know a lot of people are like, hey, frames are really bad on core systems. I get that. But a lot of people on core systems, PlayStation and Xbox, have said, over on the PTB testing and staging branch, even with all this extra stuff, it's been running quite well. So that's very promising. Now, things can definitely change. We've seen it in the past. So fingers crossed. But, I mean, it's surprisingly stable. That's why we're kind of hoping that the Power Surge does come out in January, or at least early February. Because I don't think they have too much more to do as far as polish is concerned to get it out the door. I know there's polish after the fact, but hey, you know, hang tight. So another major factor is the storage and collection of power. And that's going to be a thing to power not only the cameras, but also turrets. So having the power basics is definitely going to be a thing if you're getting started. And since we do have Power Surge out on testing branch, I strongly recommend that you go out there and do it and at least try things out. So if you're like, hey, I don't even know where to start, we have the Rust Power Basics. That's going to help you a lot. It starts not only with explaining the basics, but it has some very useful circuits at the very end if you want to copy some of those to get yourself started. Go on Builder's Paradise. Check it out. It's hot. I'll go ahead and link the Power Basics now in the upper right-hand corner. And, okay, so, yeah, along with the turrets and such, let's go over here. There's a lot of opportunity for trap bases, and I mean crazy trap bases, like really cool trap bases. Like, we've got Tesla coils. We've got, I mean, shoot, even this one right here. We might as well go ahead and link this one now. So the trap base power, like how to do like a basic circuit for like a trap base on how to automatically close the door and such. I'll go ahead and link that now in the upper right-hand corner. You can do it with some very cheap pieces. Like you can just use the basic car battery and even like the memory cell and just like a door controller. Heck, you don't even need a turret necessarily. It's pretty OP. I'm not gonna lie. It's pretty hot. So check this out. So along with Power Surge, we do know that Power Surge is not going to get the Rust Plus when it comes out initially, but it sounds like we're going to get it at some point. If we do get it, I think it's going to be at the end of 2023 or at the early part of 2024. That's my guess. But here's the thing. We actually have the storage monitor available to us. Yeah, crazy, right? And here's the thing. You know, as the sign is implying, you can definitely use this for a trap base now. This detects when things enter and leave the box. And yeah, so that's what this trap base is. Like if somebody comes in and grabs some juicy loot, it triggers the trap. And yeah, so I don't see anybody really using this on PC either, right? Like I see people using storage monitors, but not necessarily for traps. So if you want to see a very sneaky trap base, I'll go ahead and link that video now in the upper right-hand corner. Doodaloop, if you want to go check that out. And again, go on to Builder's Paradise, check these things out, get familiar with the basics, like not only to store the power, but even how to set up like a basic turret. It's going to help you tremendously. And yes, like yeah, at first it's daunting, but think about it. So is building in Rust, right? Like you had to do a bunch of it, get used to it, see where the ins and outs were to really get yourself familiar with it. And then now look at you, right? Like you're building stuff now and it's not even a big deal, right? Like it's just the possibilities are endless. So I would be amiss if I didn't bring this up. So we do know that farming is coming in 2023. It's going to be the update that comes after Power Surge. And here's the thing, farming definitely needs electricity for it to work correctly. So it's important to know those power basics, but it curtails right into the farming stuff. Like we'll get things like this mixing table. We'll get things like T-buffs. We'll be able to do all kinds of stuff. So it's really important to know the electricity because it's going to go right into farming. And then staying inside of your base and farming, believe it or not, is going to be a thing, and it's going to make you mad scrap. Like we'll be able to trade cloth over at the outpost, or I'm sorry, bandit camp, for scrap. It's definitely worth it. Even just growing the berries for the teas is definitely going to be worth it. It's another way to heal yourself in combat for those PvP chads out there. So if you want to know well everything that we know about Rust farming for 2023 and when we think it's going to roughly hit, I'll go ahead and link this video now in the upper right hand corner. So yeah, with electricity coming in, I'm very, very hopeful, optimistic that we're going to get it relatively soon. It's running very, very well. We've done quite a few wipes out there on the PTB, and it's been a blast. And just the sheer fact that spamming turrets now requires like infrastructure, things like windmills and stuff, and you know, power collection, it just makes it so much more fun and rewarding. But it also, I think, adds balance and gameplay that really was needed before, because turrets were quite OP. So yeah, we're mad excited for this. And hey, you know, along with this year, we're also going to get custom servers. Yes, that's going to be a thing. Solo, duo, trio servers, bi-weekly servers, PvP rating only on the weekends. That kind of stuff is going to be available to us. Now, we don't have an official date on this, but this is everything that we have. We'll throw it up on the end screen now. Everything that we have on custom servers for 2023, and the progress is moving along, and I think it's going to be, I'm going to guess, hopefully on the front half of this year, right? Like, you know, first quarter, second quarter, more likely like second quarter of this year. But dude, just the possibilities with this are going to be endless. So we're very excited for this. We really hope that the power surge comes in relatively soon so we can move on to the next big pieces. So be sure to leave a like and a subscribe. We'll see you guys in the next one. Love you. Bye.